Jeez. Hi. Addison's a twin. She and her twin came at 33 weeks and a day. It was really unexpected. I was fine. I had a totally boring, normal pregnancy. And then one day my water broke. And so she, at first, the only time we ever heard the words Beckwith-Wiedemann syndrome was when a doctor said, well, she's got a big tongue, but we don't think it's BWS because she's so small. Because at the time she was a 33-weeker and she weighed 5 pounds. But really for a twin, especially at that gestation, that's actually fairly big. So we didn't get an actual diagnosis until Addie was she was a little over a year old. And for me, it sort of just confirmed all the stuff that I was seeing, because she was big and she had this big tongue and she had her umbilical hernia and there were all these things that didn't really make sense to me, but really it didn't change who she was. It was just a name to the stuff that she was experiencing. So for me, her journey has been more about finding the best team for her and as a parent trying to figure out the right way to advocate for her with doctors. For me, one of the most challenging things to learn was that I didn't need to be scared of doctors. And that not every doctor you see is going to be the right fit for your family, which I think can be intimidating. You're trying to ask all these questions and you want all these answers, and sometimes you'll see doctors that either their personalities don't jive with yours or you don't agree with the things that they're saying, and that it's really okay to ask questions. We continue to ask questions and let's talk about that and talk about the other options and maybe get a second opinion or see a different doctor. And that doesn't make you pushy. That makes you a fighter, and that's what your child needs, especially at this point where they can't advocate for themselves and they don't understand what's going on in their body. I think they need somebody to fight for them. I think some of the most difficult things about BWS is obviously not just the uncertainty that comes with it, I think. You hear these odds about your kids having cancer and they sound like pretty great odds, but we've all known somebody whose child has had cancer and has been through it and how awful that was, and that feels really scary. And surgery on your baby feels really scary. Addison's had 2 surgeries already and we're having another one next week and probably more down the road after today. So I think the uncertainty is the scariest part. I think for me anyway, there was a grief that happened when I had to realize that the things I had pictured for her, it wasn't going to be her story. And I think that's hard as a mom to realize that you can't fix everything and you can't make everything better for your kids. And sometimes they just are going to go through hard stuff and you can't really do much but support them through that and help them the best that you can. If I was talking to a newly diagnosed family, I think the best advice would be find as much community as you can, because there's so much value in talking to somebody who's already been through this. And even things like, as we've been preparing for surgery, I could see that things that other families had gone through. And some of the stuff that I would look at and would be absolutely freaked out if it was my kid, now I can go into it going, oh, okay, this is a possibility. I was warned about this. I don't need to panic. So I think that community is probably the best thing that you can do for yourself. If you can find people locally who can support you, do it. But if not, the internet's a pretty magical thing now. You can talk to people from all over the country or the world just by reaching out. I know. Because these kids are awesome. They're magic. And they're worth it, It's worth every bit of fight and every bit of crazy appointment juggling and all of the stuff that we have to keep in our heads, because look at this. I mean, she's amazing. I know.